Okay, so
I only know my
went to Sally's and we got bleach and toner, and I got a brand new toner that I've never tried before, so I'm kind of excited. It's kind of like an ashy light blonde, so that will be exciting. I'm all bleached out, you can't even see me. And now we're gonna go to the Dollar Tree. That will be fun, because everything's $1. Going through Dollar Tree, where everything's $1. I'm gonna write the new Dollar Tree jingle. Good morning. As you can probably tell, it was a really rough night's sleep. My insomnia is back in full force, and I was up a couple times in the night, but the longest stretch was from 2 to 4, just because the body aches were so bad I couldn't fall asleep. So I was doing some research on long-term diphenhydramine use, or Benadryl, because my doctor recently said that it's not a good idea to be on it long-term. I was wondering why that was. And the only real concrete evidence that I could find was a study that was done that suggested that over a long period of time it can help your brain to develop dementia. I figure it's probably time to be done taking the Benadryl. So I haven't taken it in 2 days, and I started taking melatonin, which works really good to help you fall asleep, but it's not so great at helping you to stay asleep. But I also wanted to know the side effects of that, so I was researching long-term melatonin usage, and that one is actually pretty scary. It was saying that in children it can disrupt the hormone levels during development, so what can it do to us as adults? So I don't want to take that now either. So I'm running out of sleeping options. I think I'm just going to embrace the insomnia, maybe. And just, I don't know, maybe get some more night hobbies, or read a book, or learn a language. I don't know. That's the crummy thing about being so tired all the time. You kind of lose your interest in everything. So, yeah, enough about that. Anyways, I've got something in my eye. The reason that I wanted to film this morning is because last night was not a good sleep night. It has affected my ability to hold my head up without shaking. Okay, this is take 5. Okay, I'm gonna try to hold my neck still. So I've had a couple people ask, what does my dystonia look like now? Pretty much like this. It slowly builds up, and then I just need to go into physical therapy again and have it, I don't know, fixed, quote unquote, if you would call it fixed. I've also had people ask, is this temporary or is this lifelong? To my understanding, this is lifelong. But don't be overwhelmed by that, because there are plenty of different treatment options available. Mine worked for me. It doesn't mean that that one specifically will work for you, but there's plenty of other treatment options available that might work for you. And in my experience, the shaking now, it only gets bad maybe once a year, and I go in. And when I first started, I was going in every week for, gosh, it's been so long, 2 months it seems like. I went in every week for 2 months and really got it under control, and then I spread it out to 3 months, and then I spread it out to 6 months, and here we are at a year. So, but I don't know, I guess my point is, don't feel overwhelmed, because there are so many different treatments available, and you never know which one is going to work for you. So if you've tried, you know, a handful and still haven't gotten results, that just means you're that much closer to finding the one that will work for you. For me, since it was such a bad night's sleep, right now I can feel that all of these muscles, neck muscles, again, I'm going to insert my little diagram to show you guys the neck muscles. There's a lot of muscles going on in there. They are all super firm, very hard, not squishy like you would want your muscles to be, you know, squishy. Very, very firm. This side, super squishy muscles. So that's telling me that these are really tense, and that is what is contributing to my neck spasm or my head spasm, is the fact that they're all tense. So like we briefly talked about in a couple other videos, when you have one muscle that's constantly spasming, you want to build up the surrounding muscles so that they can be strong enough to kind of take the pressure off of the one that's so weak that it's spasming, right? Okay, take 7. My husband is cutting a hole into our kitchen wall right now because we have a huge leak and it has warped the majority of our kitchen floor. So all of that construction sound, if you can hear it, that's what's going on in the other room, so I had to come in here. I'm trying to pick up my train of thought where I left off, talking about muscle tension. So because I didn't sleep well last night, this side is all tense. I probably slept on it wonky, honestly. But, so if you feel around on your own neck, the area that is shaking, or if you can find one muscle in particular that is spasming, just try to identify if the muscles are very firm or if they're a little bit squishy. Squishy is good in this case because you want it to be relaxed when you're not, you know, using it. If you were to stretch your neck, you would feel that it gets more firm, which it should, but when it's in this kind of relaxed, like supine position, you wouldn't want it to be so tense, if I'm making any sense at all. I also haven't finished my coffee, so please forgive me if I'm not making sense at all. What else to talk about? I did get my blood results back on my most recent labs. I can't remember the things that we've talked about already, so if I've already said this, I'm sorry. But all of my RA factors came back normal. Sorry, all of my rheumatoid arthritis, any sort of blood lab that would test specifically for arthritis, everything came back normal. So this very specific joint pain, joint swelling, inflammation type pain is not arthritis. My doctor said, so we can't classify it arthritis, but we can still call it poly, which means multiple arthralgia, which I guess is joint pain. So multiple areas of joint pain. The weird thing is that it's symmetrical. I find that very odd. So it's not like an injury, you know, if you bumped your arm, your one arm would hurt. This pain is symmetrical. It's on both sides. It's all of the major joints, so shoulders, elbows, knees, toes, hips, all of my spine. It's just very odd, I think, because I can't really identify any reason to have it, other than, like I said a million times, I do think that it goes back to when I had my kiddo and they did a spinal tap, because it was instantly after having her that I had this massive amount of pain, and it just really never went away. And it comes in waves, but it is never, you know how they give you the 0 to 10, where's your pain at? It is never below a 4. And prior to that, I mean, it would be a 0. So the one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is something that I recently picked up off of Amazon, and it's really targeted to fibromyalgia. And I've asked my doctor too, like, do you think that this is fibromyalgia? But I guess there's no real way to test for that. So it's just kind of a speculation at this point. But it's this guy right here. Let me see if it'll focus. It's arnica. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but this stuff is amazing. So, unlike taking NSAIDs or any kind of pain medication that would go systemically and just kind of numb it a little bit, or depending on how it works for you, Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of those things, they don't touch it for me. But this is amazing. You put it just topically wherever you're having the pain, and it works almost instantly. So it's the Penetrex inflammation formulation with arnica, vitamin B6, and MSM. I also take glucosamine, MSM, and chondroitin as a supplement, and I've noticed that my pain has significantly decreased. I would say by like 30%. But you don't notice the effects of that until it's kind of built up in your system. So I think I noticed at about a week that my pain was feeling a lot better. But it's a little bit expensive. And they are horse pills. I am not joking you. Let me grab one. Okay, so this is the pill. And it always gets stuck in my throat. And you have to take 2 of these a day for it to do any good. And it tastes like sawdust. I'm sure sawdust is not a component in this, but it tastes really funky. It's supposed to just be the generic version of Osteo Biflex. So if you could just find wherever, I mean, we go to Bimart, but if you don't have a Bimart near you, it would just be whatever the generic version of the Osteo Biflex, which is significantly cheaper. Okay, aside from that, let's see. I'm kind of at a standstill for what to film next. I was thinking a lot also about video editing and the things that I like in videos. I like multiple camera angles, so, you know, we're talking here for a little bit, and then we're talking over here, and it's still the same stream of video, but it's just multiple camera angles, just to kind of keep you more entertained. I've noticed that my attention span is pretty short. But yeah, I just don't really know what to film about. I've had a lot of suggestions to film kind of just more dystonia things, but I'm not really sure exactly how to tackle that because the information is still the same, and I don't want to be boring anyone with videos of information that's the same over and over again. You know, I'm just filming the exact same video, just, you know, at a different date. I mean, that kind of seems like a waste of your time, right? And aside from that too, this type of year just kind of kills my motivation, which I know I'm just so full of excuses lately. I have a lot of hobbies, YouTube being one of my hobbies, but I just have zero motivation to do it. And so I sit down and I start to film. Like this one video, I'm piecing together a stitch of all these different videos that I've taken from like the last week. So it's not just sitting down one day and doing it. I can only commit, you know, maybe 2 to 5 minutes every few days, and then edit through those, and then kind of piece together this one chunk of video. And I kind of feel that's not fair to you because, you know, if you're here, then, you know, hopefully you've subscribed. That's another thing. How do you get people to subscribe? Like, it's free, so there's really no consequence if you would subscribe to a channel, but I can't, for the life of me, get people to subscribe. I have 98% of my viewers are not subscribed, so I don't know how to tackle that challenge either. I actually hate that about myself, that I can't fully commit to something for a long stretch of time. I just hate it about myself. I know that we all have areas that we want to work on. That's the area that I want to work on. And sometimes I get so overwhelmed thinking that it's just not going to happen, and why even put any effort towards it. Like Instagram, it's just not going to happen. And I'll post very irregularly, and then I'll have a big chunk of all of the followers unsubscribe, and it really shouldn't affect me the way that it does, but I do allow it to bother me, and so then it kind of hurts, for lack of a better word, and then it's kind of like demotivating. So I am trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on doing these videos and posting on Instagram. If nothing else, just that I'm doing something, just so that I'm active in something. Yeah. This is turning into a really weird video where I whine. I hate that I whine so much to you. I really am sorry. I just whine so often and I complain so often and I hate being negative. And day to day, it's something that I really detest is negativity. And yet I jump on here and all I do is whine and complain. And it kind of boggles my mind and I don't understand why I do it all the time. I mean, I understand that for me, it is helpful to have an outlet, but you only see this one aspect of me, and I'm so much more than just somebody who sits and whines and complains. And I know that it is hard to be vulnerable, but I want to get in the habit of sharing that aspect too, of the parts of me that are not constantly complaining, constantly whining about something that's hard. I want to be the person that motivates you, that is excited for you, and, you know, is your cheerleader. I want to be that person because I've had so many people like that in my life, and it made a world of difference. Those people are what made me, you know, take a chance or get out of bed that morning and do something positive when it felt like it was impossible. And those people are very vital in your life. And I want to change my negativity and my whining and my complaining. I want to change it around so that it's positive and share that piece of me, because I do think positively a lot, but I realized in all of my vlogs that I'm not sharing that. I just jump on here and complain, and I don't think that's fair. And that's not fair to you, especially if you're here because of dystonia. You already have enough on your plate, and I don't mean to push all of my troubles and all of my stresses on you too. So I'm sitting down and finally editing this video, and I realized that the very last clip was completely out of sync with the audio because my phone filled up on memory. So it stopped short, and I didn't have the chance to edit a closing for the video, but also you've probably just noticed that the audio is way off, and so I apologize for that. Anyways, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.